there's a bunch of them. This is not a good spot, Mama. There's kitties.
There's one stuck over here.
A few years ago, my daughter and I were leaving the house when she heard some baby chicks chirping. We checked it out, and it turned out 2 baby turkeys were stuck at the bottom of a retaining wall in our front yard, and the mother was roosting with her other babies. You can leave your other babies to get these ones. You know what happened is they fell down. So we jumped into action, and I was able to reunite the babies with their mom. What's your mama? She's very upset that I handled her, but I was really worried actually because we have a lot of stray cats in the neighborhood, and it was almost nighttime. So I decided I would sleep by the living room window, keep it open all night, and in case anything were to happen, I could hear it. So I woke up in the morning to this. This is Blondie, who was not yet my cat, but now he lives in my house. So I decided I would keep an eye on the turkeys for the whole day and make sure that they were okay. And, I figured they would probably leave, or they would end up roosting in our yard until the babies were a little bit bigger. I was not prepared for the kind of labor that was ahead of me. I actually found the turkeys at one point during the day gone into one of my neighbor's backyards, and one of the babies got left behind in their front yard. So I had to try to reunite them again. Also in this story, there are 2 different neighbors. We'll call them good neighbor and bad neighbor. So this was in the good neighbor's yard, and I was not familiar with the layout of their backyard. So when I placed the baby turkey into the neighbor's yard, I was unaware that it was actually on top of a retaining wall area, and the whole entirety of the yard was actually below that. That turkey did make it back to the others, but the babies were stuck in the backyard. The mama was on the fence, and there was no way they can get under the fence or get up the retaining wall, so they were really stuck. My neighbors weren't home at the time, so I left a note on their door and was like, please don't let your dogs out in the backyard when you get home because there are baby chicks. And when the daughter got home, she and I went in the backyard and were able to capture all of the babies. The mom was watching us from on top of the fence, and she was freaking out, and I kind of thought she might attack us. But we reunited them once again, and then they went over to Bad Neighbor's house. So Bad Neighbor, the husband had got home from work, and we had just observed her roosting in their front yard. I told him, I was like, oh, just be careful because, the mama just got through with a really stressful situation, and she's got her babies and they're sleeping and all that. So what does he do? He runs inside and tells his wife and their 2 toddlers, who come running out, chasing after the turkeys. The turkeys end up in their backyard, and some of them stuck under their house, some of them stuck in a hole. They were not keeping their children back, so I was trying to capture them, and they just kept running and hiding, and they do run pretty fast. So 2 of the baby turkeys got left behind. The mama ran out to the front yard, and the others followed. By the time I was able to capture the 2 that were left behind, the mother was nowhere to be found. By this point, I was pretty furious. I had just had an insane day with these turkeys, and for them to do this, I was pissed. So, good neighbor, the mother got home, and she went driving around the block looking for the turkey and the babies, and then I went down walking with the 2 babies that got left behind. I walked with them in a crate, and at one point we found a turkey, looked kind of like the mom. I didn't see the babies, and that should have been a sign, but I immediately released the babies to her, hoping that they would just follow after her and she was hiding her baby somewhere. But the babies ran right into the woods, right down into where the creek is. A lot of foliage. It was almost nighttime. One of the babies froze under a little bush, and I was able to grab her. But the other one I searched for well into the night. I was covered in stickers, and it was a tragic situation. I cried and cried and cried. Still blame this on the bad neighbor. Anyway, so I kept the one baby that I managed to capture again. And the next day, I walked around the neighborhood calling for the mommy, letting the baby chirp for the mommy. Even the mailman was trying to help me out, said he would let me know if he saw anything. Anyway, I wasn't able to find the mommy, and at this point, I was also unable to properly feed the baby, so I had to think about surrendering her to a wildlife rescue, which is what I did. But for the rest of that night, she sort of bonded to me and snuggled with me, and all the next day, she wouldn't really eat anything that I gave her, but I did bring some ants in from outside, and she pecked them right off my hand. So her little hunting instincts were sharpened at least. So I was taking my daughter and her friend to the lake that day, and we ran and stopped by the wildlife rescue in Auburn. And it was really emotional, really sad. It turns out that the baby ended up passing away that night, although I do suspect that they euthanized her. But her name was Chip because she had a little chipped beak. It was this incident, along with a few other incidents involving turkeys, of all things, that actually made me go vegan. And just this experience trying to change the life of one little baby turkey, it made me realize that every single life matters. And we should never give up on a creature. We should never dismiss their suffering or destroy their life just because they're not like us, just because they're an animal. Turkeys are very intelligent and very emotional. They're very lovable. That's me here. It tickles so.
It looks funny too.
And I just hope that if you're watching this video, you consider taking turkey out of your diet, and maybe even all animals. I did, and it was the best thing I've ever done.